All right, thanks for joining me for part three of assembling this Chaplin from a Black Templar army. So, when I left, we were deciding on a head. Actually, I decided I'd go down and dig through my bits and found a couple heads that I think would look spectacular for this guy. The other thing I was waiting for was to add the arm because I had that sprue goo here and it had a little bit of a mess that I really needed to sand. So really sanding that is pretty easy. I think I told you I went and I decided I'd go ahead and buy some pretty good sanding sticks that look like this. This is a 400 grit. Instead of using my emery boards, the emery boards still work really good, but they just don't polish quite as nicely. So I bought this. I think I was saying there was a whole bunch between like 4,000 grit up to like 80 grit, things that you would never really want to use on a model. I mean, 80 grit would just chew through this plastic because it's so fast. 4,000 grit's like taking a piece of paper and trying to do something with it. So, really, 400 is pretty good. This is really simple. It's just taking and going along here. That nice little thing there is thin enough that if I don't go too rough, it's not going to break off. So, I am just going to nice and gently sand. That'll take all those high spots off of where that shoe goo. That's funny. I used to use that to repair some soles of my shoes. So the sprue goo, and that's why I keep calling it that. Yay for being a little bit poor and requiring the use of shoe goo to fix my shoes and having that stuck in my head. Anyway, this sprue goo is pretty easy to sand because, as I said, it's just glue and extra plastic that I had sitting around that's melted in it. And there you are. I think we're okay. I think that looks pretty good. No need to add putty to it. You can still see a little bit of a crease, but that's okay. For the most part, it's gone. It really does depend on how far you want to go with things. Now, as far as the heads, I have two of them. I'm going to be smart and grab a pair of tweezers here because heads putting in things is kind of rough at times. I don't know if my camera really does have fine enough. Let me see where my hand is in relation to things. It's mirrored, which also makes it difficult for me to see. But yeah, you really can't see the fine detail on that. This is one of the heads that I have. That's not bad. I kind of like his skull gas mask kind of thing, the rebreather. I like that a lot. The other one is more of a Black Templar's kind of. Give me a second there. There you are. With that halo on his head. Problem is, I'm not real crazy about that. That's a Templar kind of look, but I don't think it's cool. I think I really, really enjoy this skull rebreather. See if I can get that into focus a little bit better. I've seen people try that. Yeah, I think that's about the best I'm going to get. But if you look, I think that's cool. The bald head with the kind of a lower jaw, skull kind of look going on. Well, the first thing is this was pulled out of my bits box and I never cleaned it. So, of course, we got to clean, which is looking for them seam lines where the mold fits together, cleaning those up. I think that 600 grit or the 6,000 grit would work really good for this. I just haven't tried it, and I think my fingers would be in the way of a sanding stick. Let me get that other piece because you can see where it's on those ear pieces. Let's clean that off. The only thing I'm worried about is that's a pretty deep round hole that the original head was supposed to go in. So let's dry fit that first. I'll take my tweezers. I'm going to put that in there because it might just fall to. You know what? take a look at that. I think that looks really cool. Let me see if my camera will focus on this. Hopefully it does eventually. Nope, almost had another fumble finger incident. So anyway, all right. Luckily I didn't. It fell right there. I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. I think that looks spectacular. I've seen people put the helmets on after they're painting, put these on sticks. I really haven't found an advantage for that. I think I can paint well enough that I don't need to worry about that. As I said, it's not going to be Golden Demon. It's not going to be anything like, ooh, I need to go into a contest for. It's just got to look good. And I think, wow, do tweezers make a difference? Anyway, I sound like a noob. So here we are. We got that dude. I really would like my camera to have a better focus, but that is him. I think that really looks good. This is the original head, if you can see it right there. It's got the same kind of rebreather, more of a skull look around it, and then it's got the hood coming up and over. I just it looks a little comical to me, so that I decided not to go with that one. Last part I have is the right arm, which is his gun. So let me move that out of the way. Let me clip that out. Clip that off. The other thing is I got to drill out a gun. That would give me an excuse to pull out the, excuse me while I put my goggles on. It's a little bit small right now. That head wasn't that hard to see. I did decrease the magnification of my goggles so I can actually see a little bit better. I like the increased magnification, but I don't think I see that bad, and there's nothing here that I need to see that close. So I put the minimum magnification or minimum lens in just to have it. And it's just getting these lines off. Takes a couple seconds and a couple scrapes. Excuse that sound too. That is kind of annoying. But it works okay. Off the top, if I leave those on there, it would just look, yeah. I mean, I have in the past, just because it all depends on my patience level too, and the amount of miniatures I'm painting for, or I should say assembling. If you haven't noticed, I really like assembling a little bit more than painting. I love painting because they turn out, that's when miniatures really do truly come alive. But I like assembling the miniatures a little bit better. It's like modeling. I love putting models together. The painting sometimes just gets to me. So again, a little bit of glue on one side, a little bit of glue on the other. Oh, crud. I missed that one little spot right there. Let's take that off. That looks better. Okay, here we are. Put him on. Where is there? I think that looks like a pretty cool. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, does it? Again, my camera doesn't focus super quick. But there you go. That is the Chaplin. Said I have a head and a shoulder pad left because we replaced both of those with things that I had in spare parts box. I'll clip those off. I'm not even going to save this sprue. As I said, I've got enough sprue goo to last me for a while. So these will go into my bits box. Same with that other head. That'll go to that sprue will go to the trash. I'm gonna set those over there for right now. He's done, except for of course painting and the fun stuff. So let me put him on a base for painting, because I am not going to do his base this time. You'll see his base is back here. His base is going to be done a lot like that one, like the one that I have for Typhus, where you kind of build up a little bit of cardboard, throw some of that, the wood putty on, and then like texture it. And I will paint it as well. This one here, I am actually going to put on the bottle cap. I don't really need him to be anything special. Like, tell you what, let me show you what I did with Typhus. With Typhus, I had him super glued onto this bottle cap. I broke that off because he is a really big model. He takes a little bit more control. So I have this old medicine bottle. I threw a little bit of sand and gravel mix in just to give it some weight. I also broke off the thing that causes it to ratchet. You can see the little edges. If it's not too bright, it's a little too bright. But the little edges, it's a ratcheting thing to make this thing childproof. I popped off that second lid because sometimes I will drill holes in this and like put these guys on paper clips. I think Typhus has wide enough of a base, these fat pieces, that I can just put blue tack on both sections and slap him down there a little tight. And you see, got a nice little handle I can maneuver. I can turn it upside down while I'm working on things. It does make it a little bit easier to hold on to, especially with aging hands that had a lot of surgery for trigger finger and carpal tunnel and stuff. The blue tack actually does work pretty well. The only thing I don't like is, like, you'll see there's little edges where I need to push down, because if you don't, you end up with areas you don't hit paint with. So that's him based, ready to go to be the brush prime. I will get there in probably a couple days. I'll do the brush primer for him. The last thing I needed for him was, I can take super glue or blue tack, whichever one. I want to try out. I really am not a big fan of the standard Duro tin super glue, because it has a tendency to goop up on me really quick, but I'm going to try it. So I bought some of this tonight. I'll just put a hole in the tin. Whoa, holy crap, that's coming out quick. Yep, there we go. There's another reason I don't like it. If you see the big bubble, when I say bubble pop, boy, do things do that. It's not really a full bubble. It's just some reason there's a lot of pressure back in that tin, and it just decided to all push out at once. So I'm going to rub that off and get it all over my hands and stick myself to everything, which is so much fun, which is also another reason I hate tin super glue. But let me screw that cap on. The other problem is that pressure that builds up will go all the way up through that cap, and next thing you know, is it coming down in here, the cap doesn't come off. It's pretty bad. But I decided I'd try, because it will fit. It definitely will fit better in my my toolbox. So let me squeeze, see what's left in there after it all pushed out there because of that pressure. Hey, guess what? Let me see. Is there any left in it? I think it all like squeezed out in that one big old. Yeah, that's why it's so cheap. Sorry. Excuse my complaining, but that does irritate me a lot. Ouch, my eyes are burning a little bit. It's nice because it's a gel. So anyway, I did get, if you can see the blobs, there's enough to get a couple blobs on. Luckily, I don't use super glue a lot. As you saw, I use it for bases, to gluing bases to things. I don't buy a lot of metal or resin miniatures anymore that require super glue. So he is now on. That'll also break right off when I get to that point. This screws on, which is nice. I'm used to, look at that. Looked like there was so much in there after that big old bleh. I like making sound effects too. That's all I have left. Anyway, so here you are. That is the end part of assembling that Chaplin. He is done. He is ready for primer and painting. So, thank you for watching again. I will come back. I think the next one will be finishing that base for Typhus and doing the brush on primer. I'll talk to you later. Bye.